Prepare to be amazed.
The inspiration for the story was a children's book by William Joyce called Day with Wilbur Robinson.
Bill Joyce is a very quirky, wacky human being. He's a lot of fun. He has tons of energy.
Come on in.
Funny thing is, with this movie, our Robinsons are his family members, and staying true to their personalities, and he'll tell us what Uncle Joe and Uncle Art and who they are. Of course, his real Uncle Art isn't an intergalactic space guy that delivers pizza.
In the book, this kid comes over to spend the day with his friend and ends up being completely embraced by these Robinsons. We were really able to draw from, I think, the warmth and the spirit that Bill gave the Robinsons and then develop those characters even further.
I wanted to do sort of a fictionalized biography of what my childhood had been like, or at least the way I wished my childhood had been. And so I populated it with all these characters that I knew, people from my family, but I kind of ratcheted it up 3 degrees and mixed it up with all the movies that I loved when I was a kid. My grandfather, my own grandfather in real life, had a glass eye, was missing a thumb, and had false teeth. So I always thought of him as this sort of like, you know, mechanical man in a way. You know, he could just sort of detach and reattach at will.
You haven't seen any teeth around here, have you?
Teeth?
Yeah, my teeth.
It started with the teeth and my imagination went wild. I had an uncle, Uncle Paul, who was 7 feet tall. And he always claimed that he was from outer space. You know, he just said, you know, that he was not from here.
Reminds me of the time my meatball pizza staved off civil war on the Black Moon of Kaward.
So he ended up being Uncle Art, you know, the intergalactic pizza delivery man. There was one household I used to go to that was kind of like the Robinsons' house. It's this big mansion and crazy place. It's the Parker's house. They lived here then, and they still live here now. And it was a great place to come and grow up, play, goof around. So then the book became a movie.
Allow me to shed some light on the subject.
The project began obviously with Bill Joyce's book. And I believe it was published in the early 90s. The studio had the rights to it around that same time. They bought the rights to it. It actually started in live action, and then over the next few years ended up migrating over here to animation.
And that's sort of where it started, and a script was, you know, made out of that, and then Steve Anderson got involved, and we got involved.
The studio wanted to try and experiment with this movie. And the experiment was that you're going to take the script and storyboard the whole thing all the way through, the entire movie, A to Z, beginning to end, and you would screen that version of the movie. And at that point then, the studio would decide whether or not to make it. Now that's unheard of. So to have something different on this movie, to actually be able to storyboard the entire movie all the way through was really a great experience as a filmmaker because you got to make your whole statement. The first time anybody saw this movie, it was the whole movie. Obviously it changed over the course of the years and we made things better and we tweaked things and things got cut and that kind of thing. This was the first time anybody had ever seen the movie, and it was a really exciting process to get to be part of because of its uniqueness.
Not so fast, Doris.
The people who developed the project before Steve came on probably looked at the book and thought, where would all these eccentric people live under one roof? Where could that possibly be, I guess, the future?
You have to have a statement that you're making when you're telling a story. So the theme of the movie was let go of the past and look to the future. Past then equals not good. Future equals hope, optimism. So the future city itself is just full of hope and optimism and very just a childlike wonder. And then the Robinsons then had to become the embodiment of that future ideal.
I propose a toast to Lewis and his brilliant failure. May it lead to success in the future.
The script, when I read it, I immediately connected to the story and specifically to the character of Lewis. My story is similar to Lewis's in that I was adopted. I was not in an orphanage like Lewis. Some of the specifics of our stories were different, but the questions that he was asking himself throughout the story, where did I come from? Who's my birth mother? Why did she give me up? These are the same questions that I'd asked ever since I can remember. So that character was really the thing that I responded to and said, I have to tell this story. I understand how this kid thinks. I handcuffed myself to that script and I said, this is mine. I got to do this. I got to tell this story.
Because it is his journey and his passion, he wanted to rally behind him because he was telling his story.
She's in here. I just have to remember.
My parents were very open and said, when you become 18, you can go search for your birth parents. As a kid, there was no question in my mind. When I hit 18, I was going to find these people and I was going to reconnect with them. And then one day I woke up and realized, hey, I'm 24. All these years I've been able to do this, and not only have I not done it, but I've actually forgotten about it. My priority at that moment was my own life and where I wanted to go. What happened to me in the past would not change any of that. That really made me think, okay, that's what the movie's about, because Lewis is looking to his past, and really what he needs to do is learn to let go of that and look to the future.
Well, when I first started on this, Steve pitched the idea and said that it was like loosely based off this book by William Joyce. Not all the characters in the book were used, but I knew that Lewis was going to be in it, and so I really focused on Lewis, the main character.
I've cracked the hippocampus!
Really? What?
At first, I really try and get the personality of the character in the design, and then I start worrying about the finer details. But, you know, really, if the proportion and the shape is working for that personality, then we move forward.
My name's Mikey Goobian. People call me Goob.
I took Goob and I just kind of aged him accordingly. The point where Goob went from like a cute, chubby kid to this really pathetic-looking teenager with tiny little mustache. As a designer, that was like probably my dream job.
Do you understand?
The PE coach is shorts. My dad used to parade around in these tight little dolphin shorts, and he'd work out, you know, listening to the Rocky soundtrack. And so I really, when I designed Coach, I was actually thinking about my dad.
I don't know if you ever told me that story.
No, yeah. I think he still wears them. So,
does he?
Yeah.
You didn't think I was paying attention, did you?
It was fun working with Wilbur and Lewis because they needed to be a team, but at the same time, they needed to have contrast so they didn't just become the same kid wandering around the movie. So from the story, we knew that Wilbur was really the one in the driver's seat of the relationship. Lewis was kind of the passenger.
Enough moping. Take this back to the science fair and fix that memory scanner.
Stop! Stop! Get away from me!
Maybe you've forgotten. I'm a time cop from the future. Should be taken very seriously.
Lewis is the introvert to Wilbur's extrovert. And again, all comes from the story. He has been desperately trying to find a family who would adopt him, but he's not had a lot of luck.
Lewis, meet the Robinsons.
Robinsons live left of left field.
Sarsaparilla!
The family is crazy. Each one of them has their own distinct traits, and they're each weird in their own way.
I don't want to hear anymore!
Now, sweetie.
Don't you, sweetie me!
I like to use the word freedom to describe the Robinsons.
Awesome! Exceptional!
Outstanding!
They're free to do anything that makes them happy. What makes you happy is what you need to pursue in your life. It doesn't matter if it's weird. If you want to build a spaceship and deliver pizzas throughout the galaxy, do it.
Ding dong, pizza's here!
And the Robinsons then, that really became their philosophy. They had to become a positive group of people.
And it all kind of stems from the matriarch and the patriarch of the family, Grandma and Grandpa.
As bizarre as the Robinsons get, at the core, there's still a family like your family, like my family, like everybody's family. They love each other. They have the love and the support that a family gives itself. In terms of voices, I really like to look for people who have a theater background or an improvisation background, people who really understand the notion of how to create a character and a big, larger-than-life character.
2153, take one. Well, does inventing count as a sport?
It's about having fun.
Yay! Hooray!
I didn't know there's going to be reading involved. Who dares to disturb my sanctuary?
We have Harlan Williams as Carl the robot.
Now the entire time stream could be altered.
That and someone took my bike.
We have Laurie Metcalf as Dr. Krunkelhorn.
Oh, me! Pick me! Pick me!
Nicole Sullivan as Franny, Wilbur's mom.
5 years ago, he wakes up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, wants to build a time machine.
We have Angela Bassett as Mildred.
Lewis!
The Harringtons are here!
Playing Uncle Art is Adam West.
That reminds me of when Gaston first invented his meatball cannon.
Playing Cornelius Robinson, the founder of the future, we have Tom Selleck.
I give you my latest invention for Robinson Industries.
Ethan Sandler, doing practically every other voice in the movie.
I'm playing Dimitri and Spike.
Hey, ring my doorbell. No, ring my doorbell.
And Laszlo, and Fritz, and Petunia, and the CEO.
You have 2 minutes. Please begin.
He's even Doris. He's all the beeps and buzzes of Doris.
Why don't you go? You do it so much better than me.
Wait, I think I just lost my mind.
For the record, this was the moment.
It's really just collaborating with him and just trying to make him laugh. And I feel like if he laughs, then it's good.
Prepare to be amazed. This is my invention.
The guy who did Bowler Hat Guy, I think he was okay working with me. I know we did struggle a little bit from time to time.
It's so far removed from him that I can't even imagine him doing the voice.
Pass off invention as my own. Check. Oh, I love checklists.
He gets really into it, and his facial expressions become, you know, evil and bowler hat guy. And yeah, he had us frightened a couple times.
Me!
I kind of channeled my anger and frustration that I feel as I sit in traffic every day commuting from Santa Clarita to Burbank, and I think a lot of the voice came from that.
My name's Franny, and I teach frogs music.
Ba 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 ba, breath ba ba ba.
Danny Elfman is a fantastic composer, songwriter. He is unbelievable. And when he came on, he immediately connected with this film.
Danny has a really interesting process because Danny is so smart. You really don't have to talk too much about specifics with Danny. He gets it. He gets it immediately.
Meet the Robinsons went in 2 directions, both very crazy, where I got to actually be very Carl Stalling-esque. And it's also very, very emotional. It had more of a story and the type of character thing that music can play a bigger part in than many animated films. Lewis, his whole past with being abandoned, his mother, there's definitely a theme that will follow every time we get into family, his loss of family, his wanting family, his being accepted by the Robinsons.
I'm really happy you're safe.
You all sacrificed so much.
Who'd be a better family for you than us? What do you say, Lewis? Do you want to be a Robinson?
My favorite cue in the movie is when we go to the future for the first time and we see that glorious vision through Lewis's eyes.
Where are we going?
To the future!
We're up here recording my song.
Future Has Arrived.
Future Has Arrived.
As written by Mr. Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
So we're very honored to be able to do this.
Hey, thanks a lot for coming by. It was fun. No, it's so cool. Yeah, this is fun. When Danny called us, it was different. It was definitely caught us off guard. We're like, wow, really?
There's really no words to describe it because it was an amazing experience. We're fans of Danny Elfman and his work, and so it's hard trying to alter it because it's like this is a Danny Elfman song. You want to do it justice, but he's really been cool about it, and he's just like, make it your own, So we're doing our rejects thing to it.
We're excited to have a variety of different musicians involved with this movie, from Rufus Wainwright to Rob Thomas, and what they all bring, to this movie, along with Danny's score. It's phenomenal.
I wrote this song called Little Wonders after, talking to the people at Disney and seeing a little piece of this film.
Let it go. Let it roll right off your shoulder, don't you know?
The first line of that song is Let It Go, which is essentially another way of stating our theme of keep moving forward, let go of the past, keep moving forward. And he didn't know that was the theme of our movie.
I was walking my dog, actually, and it was like one of these moments where I couldn't get him to move, and I'm trying to get him to go, and he looks up, and I look over, and he's sitting there in the wind, just like smiling, you know, and he won't move because he was just like feeling the wind. And it just all kind of hit me in 1 minute. I like that, you know, that this is what everything's about, these small hours and these moments, and then it all just started to kind of flow together.
Time falls away over these small hours, these little wonders still remain.
This has been really interesting because it's with animation, and I do actually find that my voice and the sort of unusual nature of my music, it fits well with animation because it does evoke like another world.
Give me just one more chance, one more glance, and I will make of you another believer.
The other song I did is, well, I wrote it. I'm not singing it. Jamie Cullum is singing it. It's called Where's Your Heart At? It's supposed to be singing as a frog.
You ask me over and over and over, have you seen my peacock feathered hat? If it was under a four-leaf clover, I'd be on the lawn looking for that. Where is your heart at? Nobody knows that. Even though you've him, her, me, and an army searching.
I'm really thrilled with the way we were able to use music in this movie. And I think because of the theme of this movie, because the way the movie was made, the way we had to move on this film to make it, I really learned to let go and just be open to things, just, again, to move forward.
Ooh, good idea.
I think there's such a great message for everybody. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make a mistake, as long as you keep on moving forward, just as Lewis did. Everybody out there has a Robinson in their family, and Steve Anderson was telling his life journey and his story through this movie, which the emotion and the heart, the comedy, all of that came through.
We all got in line right behind him and followed him to the conclusion of this movie. To me, Lewis is Steve. They're the same person.
Our passion was to tell this story and to put this movie up on screen, and nothing was going to stop us from doing that.